On your station for inspiration and information. Good Wednesday morning to you. I'm one half of B&B on Wild Word on Wednesday, John Godbolt. The bishop will be back with us next week, but it's always good to be with you as we share with you inspiration and, of course, information as well. Excited to have in our studios with us today Pastor Raul Wallace, who's going to help us and understand some things about voting and how we need to be aware of some of the changes as well. But we're going to also have news and some of the other things coming up. I want to thank Pastor Paul Matthews, PM, the man with both biblical names, Paul and Matthew. That's a powerful name there. But anyway, for pushing the buttons and making us sound professional, even if we're not, it's just good to be here with you today. Hey, always, I'd love to share a word with you before we get started in our program today. I want to talk with you about persistence. From Genesis chapter 32, verse 24 says, "And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled with the man until the breaking of day." There comes a time when we're doing the will of God, and it means we have to choose between being separated from safe and familiar places. Jacob knew that he had to face his twin brother Esau. He did not shrink from his action, nor did he go back to familiar surroundings. First, he was left alone. That means he had no comfort from his wife or children, his amount of success with his financial gains. And secondly, he wrestled. Now, being threatened by death, he wrestled. Outmatched by an angel, he still wrestled. And even when he was wounded by the individual that should have blessed him, he wrestled. Jacob was persistent in the face of possibilities and problems and pressures. He still was persistent. If you're going through a place right now, I want to encourage you to be persistent. Even when you have to witness for Christ, and many times we're facing some difficult times, please remember it's going to be your faith in God and your trust in Him being persistent that's going to bring you through it. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the gift of this day and for the opportunity we have to share with your people. And for those who are traveling and those who are going through difficult places, our leaders, pastors, and those who are in position of authority, I pray that their persistence will be rewarded by your constantly blessing them. And even in the times of drought, I pray that you would give them waters of refreshing in their souls, that your name is glorified, Jesus is magnified, and Satan is terrified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Grateful to have with us Pastor Raul Wallace from Divine Call Ministries. We both are excited I am anyway, about having him here because we had this conversation yesterday with our pastors. We have a noonday prayer every Tuesday, and we have the opportunity not only to pray together for our nation and so many other things, but we also had the opportunity to talk about some local things or national things that affect us. So Pastor Wallace is here to share with us about voting and some of the issues and challenges we need to be aware of. So Pastor, again, thank you for coming. I appreciate having you with us.
You're very so welcome, Bishop. Good morning to you. Good morning, WIDU radio audience. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, so let's start from the beginning. Your wife received a letter from the Board of Election. Tell us about that and how that shifted some things for you.
I'm the one that really normally go to the mailbox. Mm-hmm. I slit open every mail, whether it's mine or hers. If it's hers, I hand it to her. But when I saw this one day before yesterday, when I opened it, and when I looked at it and saw the return address as the Cumberland County Board of Elections, and it's normally when I get anything from Board of Elections, it's addressed to me.
Right.
But when I noticed that one was to my wife, I'm like, oh, are they asking her to volunteer? And so I looked at the letter and I noticed that it was a notice that was explaining that due to some mismatch of information concerning her in their database, that they needed her to respond with specific information so that they can match the name, social security numbers, as well as driver's license number to make sure she is indeed authorized legally to vote in North Carolina. And so that really kind of had the hair on the back of my head stood up, and I said, I called my wife. I call her Net. I said, Net, you have something here from Cumberland County Board of Elections. Of course, she was anxious to see what it was, and when she's been voting since 1980.
Okay.
Here in North Carolina, in Cumberland County. We've traveled the world because I'm retired Air Force, so we've been out of the country for a number of years. And so she's been a registered voter since about 1980 here in North Carolina. And so to read that there's been some mismatch and needed her to verify her information as a legally registered voter in North Carolina, that really was somewhat eyebrow rising.
Yeah. So you haven't moved as far as your address or anything in the past 5-10 years?
No, we've been at the same address since 2008.
Okay, but getting this letter tells us something has shifted somewhere in voting or identification.
Yes.
So can you explain some of that to us?
Well, because of some recent laws and recent changes in North Carolina, and not just North Carolina, but specifically in North Carolina, there's been some recent laws that have been passed that requires certain processes and procedures on how the elections are conducted, and really looking at voter database to ensure that each individual are really legally authorized to vote in North Carolina. So I presume that because of some of those changes, and we're speaking about my wife's letter, but I would dare say thousands, if not tens of thousands of individuals in North Carolina possibly receive these notices. And more than likely, those who are listening, some of those who are listening right now, you probably have that letter in your mailbox if you just normally just pull letters out of your mailbox and just throw it somewhere in the house without looking at it. Anything you receive from Cumberland County or whatever county you're in, anything you receive from the Board of Elections, that is requesting certain information from you. And if you do not respond in a short time, you will be flagged. And so when you do show up to the polls, and that's the first time you're being notified, we will let you know Cumberland County Board of Elections did mail something to you for you to respond to. And because you didn't respond to it, now that you present yourself to vote, we got you. So we're going to try to verify those information at that time.
So now you're not a novice at this. You've been one of the people that help register people. You volunteer. You've been doing this for years now. So,
yes, I've been volunteering with the Board of Elections since about 2014.
So for you to get this letter, well, I'm going to say it's a blessing on one side in the sense of now we got somebody we know who's been a part of something that's helping our community. But at the same time, something as simple as maybe a number not matching on Social Security, or what was it, birth date, or? No,
it just stated that there's been some mismatch and they need to verify the individual's name, last four of Social Security number, and driver's license. And so those information, bits of information have to be completed on the form and mailed in, or you can walk it into the Board of Elections office, or you can call. I believe there was an option to call that information in. And so it was just requiring the individuals to verify those pieces of information concerning them.
So we don't have any idea how many people that could have received that letter, but it sounds like there could be tens of thousands of people around the state. Right?
I would guess that multiple thousands, if not tens of thousands, might have received it, because if they're cross-checking databases to make sure all the information aligned to each voter, each registered voter, and depending on what database might have contained what information or bits of information. If you've been married, if there's a hyphen in your name, or a hyphen that was in your name that has been removed, a driver's license, something happened to your driver's license or whatever, and the databases, are not really speaking to one another. When they run those documents, and they're matching information. If it's not a perfect match, of course, they need to make sure that those are legitimate registered voters in the system.
Okay, now let's talk about this a little bit. The early voting, we're going to get back to some of the other things, but early voting starts when, and how could not paying attention to that letter affect us?
Okay. Early voting begins tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Polling places open at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, and they will close at 7:30 p.m., and that's during the weekdays through Friday, February 27th.
Okay.
So weekdays beginning tomorrow morning through Friday, February 27th, from 8 o'clock a.m. till 7:30 p.m., early voters can go into any one of the 7 polling places that are open to vote. And so also on Saturday, February 14th and Saturday, February 28th, from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m., those are the only 2 Saturdays that early voting will be conducted this primary, as well as on Sunday, February 15th. That's this coming Sunday.
Correct.
From 2 p.m. till 5 p.m.
Okay.
So that's this Sunday, 2 to 5 p.m., Saturday, February 14th and the 28th, from 8 a.m. till 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. As well as on Sunday. The 7 early voting sites are College Lakes Recreation Center, East Regional Library, Stony Point Recreation Center, Smith Recreation Center, J.D. Pone Recreation Center, Cliffdale Recreation Center, and Kiwanis Recreation Center. And I strongly recommend individuals show up to early voting.
Okay. Now, why do you do that versus waiting to that one day?
Because, for example, as this letter that we're speaking of, if you hadn't paid attention to your mail, if you hadn't responded to it in time, if you show up on election day, primary election day, which is Tuesday, March 3rd, if you show up on that day and that information hadn't been corrected, you will be given a provisional ballot to vote.
Okay.
And you'll still have to show up at the Board of Elections with the pertinent information to verify you are who you say you are. If you show up on election day on the 3rd of March,
right,
you will be voting provisional.
Okay.
If you show up on any of the early voting dates, we can correct that information on spot.
Right.
We can update the database on the spot and issue you your ballot so that you can go ahead and vote and don't have to worry about anything. That can only be done during the early voting.
Okay.
Individuals, they put it off and they say, I meant to come to early voting, but I just was so busy I couldn't do it. So they rush in on election day and they are irate. They just blow their top when they find out you're telling me what? That I've got to vote provisional, that there's some mix up in my information, mismatch information. And all we say, well, had you come during early voting, we could have corrected it. But seeing that it's on the primary election day, I'm sorry, we can't correct it now. You'll have to get this provisional ballot, vote your provisional ballot, then go to the Board of Elections with the pertinent information that was requested of you in that notice to prove that you are who you say you are.
So let's talk about provisional. What does that mean versus just a regular vote, provisional ballot?
Anyone who comes into any voting site, any precinct, anyone who comes in and they want to vote, they want to cast their vote. We look in the database, we can't find them. We're telling them, asking them, have you been registered before? Are you registered? Yes, I'm registered, but we can't find you in the database. Or if you come in and you want to vote, but you don't have your ID card, you lost it, you didn't have time to get a new one, and we might pull you up in the system and seeing that, yes, you are registered to vote, but we need to see your ID, your picture ID. We need to make sure your picture ID is you. And so individuals who don't have that, we can't turn them, the individual can volunteer to leave and come back with that information, but we can't turn anyone who present themselves at a precinct to vote. We can't turn them away.
Okay.
And so what we would offer then is a provisional ballot, which is a regular ballot, but of course we write a P on it so that it is identified as a provisional, and it's folded, it is placed in an envelope and sealed, and that goes to the Board of Elections, and those who count the votes at the Board of Elections will look at that after they've received the pertinent information that is required for you to legally vote. And so that is a provisional. It is still the same ballot that one would get normally,
Yeah.
but because there's just some error there, some matters to be addressed before that individual's vote could count, they get that ballot as a provisional. It's not placed in the tabulator to be counted. It is placed in an envelope and sealed to be opened later at the Board of Elections after the individuals report back with the pertinent information that is required.
So I got a caller who called in. Sheila said that it's be advised for people, don't mail it in, but take it back personally to the office. What do you feel about that? Yeah.
Mailing that letter in?
Yeah,
that would be my recommendation as well, is to hand carry it down, if at all possible, if it's reasonable for you and it's a sacrifice you can make if you have to. I do strongly recommend you hand carry it down and give it to someone there. They would open that letter if you have it already in the envelope. They will open it before you. They would look at it to make sure the information is filled out that is required, and they will date stamp it in front of you so that you can be sure it was received and it was date stamped. If you mail it this close to the election, of course we have until March 3rd, but because of how the mailing system works right now and how slow it can be and mailing. And it also may be received on time, but depending on the workers there at the Board of Election, if it's few of them and they just are receiving so many, they can only go through so many at a time. And so that can delay certain individuals getting updated in the voter database on time. And so I would strongly recommend, if at all possible, individuals who receive these notices, fill it out and hand carry it, or if the option was there to call it in, I recommend you do that. Yes, you can mail it, but you run the risk of things kind of getting delayed or lost in the mail.
So whenever they're going down there with the letter, what do you recommend them carry with them to prove I am that person, these things do match? Because you don't always know exactly what they're saying is not matching according to the letter?
If you receive that notice,
okay,
you are in the North Carolina voter registration database.
Okay.
It's just the fact that there's something that's mismatching.
Okay.
And so what they need is for you to fill out the bottom portion of that notice, have the pertinent information that they're requiring of you. All you have to do is fill that out.
Okay. But
so you don't have to present anything with that, because they already have your information in the database.
Okay.
They just want to make sure they're matching everything up. And if everything matches once you present that notice, they just update everything as being verified or correcting whatever needs to be corrected.
Okay, so my question again, I guess it would be, if maybe you gave several things that people could have: a dash mission, a maiden name versus a married name, a difference in the Social Security number. Does that letter tell you exactly, specifically what you're dealing with in your issue? Your wife, did she know exactly what was missing?
I cannot speak to what each letter has.
Yeah.
But my wife's letter gave, I'm not sure if it's a generic statement that is sent to everybody, or is everyone receiving that same generic letter. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I know the one that she had, it just explained concerning mismatches and the possible mismatches of driver's license number, last four of Social Security number, and correct spelling of name and all of that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's generic to all the notices that are sent out, or that was specific to my wife. So I cannot speak to all the other letters or notices that has gone out.
So it's so close to voting and voter early voting. Is this a problem, or is this by design, or just?
I cannot speak if it is a design or a problem. I can just speak to the fact that it being so close to the election.
Okay.
Of course, we would think This could have been done 7, 8 months ago to give more time. It causes some individuals who may think it's suspect that why so close? Early voting begins tomorrow, Thursday morning.
Yes, yes.
When did this letter get in my mailbox? Yesterday?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, of course, one could be suspect, but I cannot speak to that. It's just the fact is the notices just recently were sent out.
Yeah, I don't want our audience to be fearful of this. I think personally, and this is not putting you on the spot, I'm saying this personally, that my vote must be so important that somebody wants to make sure I don't get to vote or it's hard for me to vote, making it difficult. But I'm of the opinion that the harder you make it, the more I'm going to fight to get it done, or encourage our audience and those who are voting to vote and get the information out there that they should, and carry it down to the place they need to carry it. And whatever you need to get, ID, whatever it might be, to make sure that your vote is counted when you vote and not provisionally.
Yes, Bishop Godbolt, it's not just your vote that is so significant and highly important. My vote is very significant and highly important. Everyone who's registered in North Carolina, you best know your vote is so important.
Come on.
That it is of great concern to everyone who is on a ballot anywhere. That's how important your vote is. And of course, there may be those who see it so important and anticipate certain things that they would try to make things a little challenging and difficult if they're suspecting some other types of outcome. And so it is so important that everyone take the initiative and be so intentional about wanting to make sure your vote count, that you'll jump through any hurdle that is placed before you. You'll climb any mountain. If you got to go down into the deepest valleys, you've got to be so concerned about making sure your vote count that you're willing, no matter what challenges there may be between me and voting at the voting site, I'm willing to cross through any fire to make sure I get through to vote. And so we have to take that initiative. We've got to consider our vote so important, just as important as every elected official know that your vote is that important.
As Nelson Mandela said, one man, one vote. And that's what's important for us to be able to talk about. So,
may I make one more input? Because I really want to say this. There's so many individuals who, for whatever reason, don't have a driver's license or some picture ID, and whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
If indeed you are legally registered to vote, or if you're not registered, you can come to early voting and you can register at any voting precinct or site during the early voting. You can register that day and time and get a ballot and vote. So you have same day registration during early voting. You go on election day, which is the 3rd of March, you won't be able, we'll give you a provisional ballot, but I won't tell you what will happen to that. But we could give you a provisional ballot so that you can cast a vote, but it won't be counted until certain hurdles are crossed. But if you come to early voting, you can register to vote and receive your ballot and vote at that same time. If for any reason you or anyone you know don't have a picture ID, if you are legal in North Carolina and you can register to vote, if you go down to the Board of Elections, the Board of Elections will get certain information from you and they will register you to vote there while you're there, and ask for a voter ID. And Board of Elections, they will take your picture and issue you a legal voter ID, a voter picture ID, and it's
Okay.
free.
Okay.
There's no cost.
Okay.
And so all you have to do is present yourself to the Board of Elections and let them know that you don't have an ID, a picture ID,
Yeah.
and you would like to vote. Maybe they'll ask if you're registered, and they'll look you up to see if you're not. If you're not, let them know you want to register now. They'll register you to vote and issue you a picture ID so that you have that, and you can present yourself at any precinct and you can vote.
Awesome. Hey, we got to take a hard break right now for the news, and I hope you are getting this information, not locking in, because we'll be back with Pastor Wallace to talk more about this. This is WOW on Wednesday Beat with B&B. Take it away, Pastor Paul.
North Carolina is set for another presidential visit on Friday. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will visit Fort Bragg to meet with the families and members of special forces. The main airport in El Paso, Texas, has been shut down for 10 days, according to security officials. We're hearing now from Democratic Governor Josh Stein about moves by GOP-led elections board to reduce early voting locations and times. The race is on to find the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. An Arizona man who was detained for hours overnight for questioning has been released. One person is dead, another injured, and deputies are searching for those responsible for the shooting in Pinnacle in Stokes County. Tax experts say that 2025 came with one of the largest tax law changes seen in the last 50 years. Mike Rayleigh, NCI News.
Fayetteville police say homicide detectives are investigating a stabbing that happened along the 1900 block of Daphne Circle. This was at about 7 o'clock last night. It resulted in the death of one person. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. A suspect was located on scene and officers detained that person. The investigative process is ongoing. There is no threat to the public. Starting today, the Fayetteville Economic and Community Development Department will be hosting 4 public meetings for residents to provide feedback on the proposed 2026-2027 annual action plan. Residents are encouraged to participate and provide their input on how the department prioritizes the funding from the Community Development Block Grant and Emergency Solutions grants. The first of 4 public meetings is tonight. It is at 6 p.m. at the Massey Hill Recreation Center. If you missed that one, the next one is February 19th at 6 p.m. at the Smith Recreation Center. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
This morning, we start out with the chance for a few light rain showers. Then from midday onward, it's a gradual clearing in the sky from north to south. Still going to be warm out there. High temperatures mainly in the mid-to upper 60s, but the colder air catches up to us as we head into the overnight hours. It's back to jacket weather. Temperatures low to mid-30s out the door Thursday morning, and we're mostly sunny to partly cloudy Thursday afternoon. Highs in the 50s. For the North Carolina News Network, I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the Weather Center.
If you are on Medicare, scammers may target you to steal your identity. Remember, Medicare will never call you asking for personal details. The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medicare Patrol program is here to protect you from fraud and provide you with knowledge to stay safe. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
You know the only feeling sweeter than opening a college acceptance letter? Knowing that you'll be able to pay for tuition however far you go. The first step? Completing the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA for short. Find out how much money for college you qualify for. Grants, scholarships, and other opportunities are waiting. How far can you go? Find out at cfnc.org/FAFSA 101.
Hello, Cumberland County. Thank you for allowing me to serve. I'm Vice Chairwoman County Commissioner at Large, Veronica Jones, asking for your support for re-election. I'm a lifelong public servant, community leader, and mental health educator. I'm proud to be a voice for Cumberland County families and advocate for our democratic values. Vote Veronica Jones for County Commissioner at Large. Early voting, February 12th, February 26th, and primary, March 3rd, 2026.
Paid for by the campaign to re-elect Veronica B. Jones, County Commissioner at Large.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, What do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and like listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine like if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Practicing the championship way can happen 100% of every day, on the track and when traveling highways. A law of sportsmanship includes taking the high road when going away and returning home. Buckle up your seatbelt in the front and back seats. Every seat, every time. Every time you click it, it counts as a winning ticket. Demonstrate your championship drive through your safety practice and stay on the winning track. This message was brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program and the North Carolina High School Athletic Association.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
When leadership works for the people, communities grow. That's why I'm stepping up. This is Terry Thomas, candidate for County Commissioner District 1. Public safety, youth opportunities, growing our economy, dignity for families and seniors, and clean, safe water. These aren't just talking points. I believe in transparent, people-focused leadership. Please vote Terry Thomas, a reliable voice for Cumberland County. Paid for by the committee to elect Terry Thomas.
Remember the rotary phone? Well, soon that's what people are going to ask about gas-powered cars. And every day we see videos of robots becoming more and more like us. Welcome to the future. At Fayetteville State University, we believe that anything really can happen. So wherever it is that you want to go, we've got a program for that. Visit Fayetteville State University and find out how we're preparing students just like you for what comes next. Fayetteville State University. Are you in?
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
And when you thought it couldn't get any better, it does. Thank you for staying with us or just joining us on B&B Wild Word on Wednesday with B&B. Bishop Carl E. Brinkley Jr. and John Godbolt. Bishop will be back with us next week, but I'm excited to be here with you with Pastor Raul Wallace as we're talking from Divine Call Ministries. And also he is I guess I'll call him a expert. We call him an expert in voting and some of the issues that we're facing with voting today. Listen, Pastor, again, thank you for joining us. It's so great to have you in here talking with us as we did a little bit yesterday during noonday prayer.
Yes, sir. And let me just put a plug in. For all of you who are listening, if you have somebody you can tag or let them know to chime in real quick or to go back and re-listen to this, and you're concerned about election and making sure that everyone have that opportunity to vote and do their civic duty, please tag them, let them know, because this is so important for all of us in North Carolina who are registered to vote, to make sure that we're informed and being aware of how the process is working.
So I want to make this point. When I got that call, I just had Sheila, but I found out Sheila Cuffey is a candidate for an office, and she received one of those letters as well. That's why she was saying, take it down personally, fill out the information, take it down personally. So we got candidates who have a candidate that got a copy of the same letter that your wife received as well.
So may I ask a question, Bishop? May I ask a question, radio audience? Please listen and respond by making sure you go through your mail. Have you checked your mail lately?
Yeah.
And have you gone through it? To ensure that you aren't one of those who receive these notices, please make sure you go through your mail.
Yes.
And indeed, if you received one, if my wife, of course, when my wife received it, they said, "Oh, they're trying to get to you by getting to me." I said, no. But indeed, if we have candidates receiving these notices, it's no telling who and how many are receiving these notices. So please, even your friends, your family members, just ask them, have you noticed, have you checked to make sure you have it? If you took it and just threw it somewhere on the table in the house, please make sure there's not something laying around from Cumberland County or whatever county you're registered to vote in North Carolina that's laying around and you hadn't opened it or responded to it. Please do that.
So, and with that being said, we were talking also about another concern, and I asked you off the air, is this fraud voting of a real issue percentage-wise? Are we looking at a lot of fake voting in our area or anywhere? So please address that about dead people voting.
Okay, I can address that. I hold off on the dead people voted for last.
Okay.
But let me assure every listener, every registered voter in North Carolina, I can assure you that the election process is very, very, very secure. You can be sure of that. Each voting site is assigned at least 1 or 2 election officials from each party.
Okay.
So each party is represented at whatever voting site you present yourselves to vote.
Okay.
Each political party is represented at all voting sites. There is always one chief judge, which I'm a chief judge. There's 2 judges and at least 2, 3, 4, 5 election assistants.
Okay.
All of different party affiliation. No voting site has just one party election officials working that site. And so we check and balance one another to make sure everything remains free and the process is fair. That's so to ensure the integrity of our election process. So Democrats, unaffiliated or independents, Republicans, if individuals volunteer to work the elections from the Green Party or the Libertarian Party, they are assigned. It's mandatory for each party to be represented at all voting sites. So no one voting location have just all one party affiliates working that. So we're there to really ensure the integrity of it all. Now there are rumors we hear it sometimes individuals present themselves to vote and they just have an axe to grind and they're talking about all of this fraud and all of this stuff and we hear about dead people voting and all that kind of stuff and so they're going to the cemetery writing down names and registering those. That's all just, man. I'm a believer, so I won't say that part.
Yeah.
That's hogwash.
Yeah, that's
good. Just somebody who wants to just kind of throw a wrench in everything.
They got an axe to grind. Okay.
Right, exactly. And so as far as dead people voting, the way that came about, I'm sure the wrong individuals get a hold of this information and they really want to just spread some garbage. They'll run with it, put it on social media, spread it all over everywhere they can. But the fact is, anyone can vote early in the election. Early voting begins tomorrow, continue through the 28th of February. So anyone can present themselves at any voting site to vote early. Your vote isn't really officially counted until after midnight, after the polls close, after midnight on the 3rd of March, which is the primary election day, 3rd of March. Polls open on the 3rd of March from 6:30 and close till at 7:30. So all of us who voted early,
Yeah.
if you die before midnight on the 3rd,
Yeah.
your vote possibly will count. But funeral homes are required to send a list of all deaths to the Board of Elections. And it's incumbent on family members or friends of myself, if I pass, to inform the Board of Election in a timely fashion that Raul Wallace has transitioned. Board of Elections will pull my ballot, and they will pull it from being counted. The fact is, though, it has already counted, and the winner has already been declared.
Right.
But the Board of Elections didn't know that I passed in time to not count my vote.
Gotcha.
And so there is a process that plays out once the Board of Election receive those death notices, where they go in and they pull those votes that counted of individuals who are now deceased or died before midnight on the 3rd or midnight of voting election day. And so they go through the process to pull it. That number is so minimal, it's so minuscule, that even when they pull those names that were counted of individuals who passed, it's so minimal that it will never impact or affect the winner that was declared in that race. That's how small that number is of individuals who transitioned before election day and their vote did count, and then they have to go back and pull those votes. So that number is so small, it wouldn't make a difference in whether an individual would have won or not.
So, I'm glad you brought that up, because like you said, we've heard people get on and they make this such a soapbox, and it's so minuscule that you wonder, what are you really trying to do? Do we want people to vote, or are you trying to frighten them from making the vote? Are you trying to make it too difficult for them? Or is this really legit in the sense of saying, we want to make sure it's a fair and free election?
Correct. And that's what we who volunteer to work Board of Election, not just here in Cumberland County, but throughout North Carolina, we're all volunteer. And so we volunteer because we trust the system, and we volunteer because we want to ensure the system, our election system, remain free and fair. That is why we run the risk of some things working, volunteering to work the elections. We run that risk because we want to ensure that our elections remain free and fair. And the Board of Elections want to ensure so much that our elections are run free and fair that the State Board of Elections have determined, I don't know how long ago that has been, but I presume it has been like this for decades, that every voting site have representatives working volunteer representatives working each voting site that's representing each party. So that there is no way that it's only one party working, so they would do some things that another party wouldn't be aware of that is fraudulent. And so there's no fraud in running our elections at every precinct. I can guarantee there is no fraud at any of these sites. Now, when we go to the election, the Board of Elections, and to the state and all of that, and the things that are occurring there with the elected officials, we can't speak to that. But we at the local level can ensure, if you come in and you're legally registered to vote and you cast your vote is going to be counted just as you filled out your ballot.
So let's assume that a person did not get the letter. Check again. Now, we're asking you, did you check your mail? Okay. Let's assume they did not get a letter and they come in and vote early tomorrow. What do they need to bring with them?
just ensure you have your driver's license or you have a picture ID. The North Carolina State Board of Elections has authorized certain picture ID, like for some universities, and there's some other organizations that North Carolina State Board of Elections have approved certain picture IDs that can be counted as a valid picture ID when someone present themselves to vote. And so just when you come, ensure that you have a valid and approved picture ID. That's all you need. For those who are registering same day, if you have a bill that you received at your current address, a telephone bill, a utility bill that have your name and the address where you reside, if you could bring that along with you in addition to your picture ID, because I believe, I can't think off the top of my head if there's two proofs that is required when you're presenting to vote. But if you're presenting yourself to vote, to register to vote the same day and to vote, if you could bring a bill that has your name with your residential address on it, along with your approved picture ID, that's all you need. A passport, you can bring your passport as a picture ID as well.
I've read something, as a matter of fact, we had a member of our church who had the problem with this. He laminated his Social Security card, and it was now not valid for him to use. Do you know anything about that? Have you heard?
I've heard that you never want to laminate. Now you could take a picture of it and laminate the picture.
Yeah.
But I know that there's certain establishments, certain organizations, and some government organizations too, I believe, will not accept a laminated Social Security card.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the Board of Elections will have a problem if you present that. But we're not asking for a Social Security card at the Board of Elections. But if you show up with one and show it, I mean, we'll say thank you.
It's important. So all of this is important to me and to you, because as pastors and leaders in our community, we want everybody to understand the importance of voting, especially these off years that we call, quote unquote, not the voting for presidents or higher offices. We still need to make sure that everyone is in there voting. So how important is it in this day, right now, where we are situating, that we get people in there this voting between now and March 3rd?
It is very important. Not just for this election, because I say the same thing for every election, for off-year election and presidential year elections. I'm just convinced, as a citizen in the United States, and being a person of color, I'm originally from Jamaica, and so I'm an immigrant in the United States who have now benefited from so much of what our forefathers and mothers have gone through. Just to be able to have the right to vote, not just a privilege, but the right to vote. And because of how I was reared, what I've observed through my short few years of life so far, I'm just so convinced we ought to, if you are legally authorized to vote, I'm convinced everyone, I would persuade anyone I can, make sure you're registered to vote and do your civic duty. Because yes, our vote, your vote matters. It matters so much that there are quite a few would hope and pray, keeping their fingers crossed that you don't vote.
Don't go to the polls. That's what
and to put all sorts of hurdles in the way to keep you from voting. So you've got to be so persuaded in your own self that your vote matter, that you will vote. Let me throw this in as well. Individuals normally go to the polls, and you have to walk through that gauntlet of electioneers outside giving you those handbills, asking you to vote and do all of this type of stuff. I ask you, please, I strongly recommend that you prepare yourself to go to the polls. And you can do that by downloading your personal sample ballot, go to the North Carolina State Board of Elections at NCSBOE voter search site. Go to that North Carolina State Board of Election voter search site. Input your first name, your last name, select your birth year, select the county that you reside in, and hit search, and your name will come up. It will come up with a blue highlight or a blue hyperlink. Click on that blue hyperlink of your name. Your voting record will populate the screen. Scroll down because all of your voting information is on there. It's public information. So if I know your name, your birth year, and your address, I could pull it up. So when you're talking in my ear all this trash, I'll just pull it up to see if they are authorized to talk. And so you go through your voting record, go all the way down to the bottom where it says your sample ballot. Click on that blue highlight, which is a D or a R if you're registered Democrat or Republican, a D00 or R something. Click on that. If you're unaffiliated, you will have both of them. Click on both of them. If you're unaffiliated, see which ballot you want to vote, whether it's the Republican or the Democrat, and you select that. Print it, fill it out, bring it with you to the election site. Get your official ballot, go into the booth, and transfer your selection from your sample ballot to your official ballot.
Gotcha.
I believe that is so much more of an informed voter versus going in the ballot trying to figure out, I don't know these folks, so I'm not even going to vote in that race. Do your research before you go to the ballots. Before you go to the polls to vote.
Pastor, thank you so much for being with us. We got to get out of here, and I hope we can get you back sometime soon as we talk more about preparing ourselves. Remember, early voting begins tomorrow, so in case you have wondered, should I be out there? Yes, be out there, get it done. Thank you so much. Hey, we got to get out. We got another vote coming your way in just a moment, and remember, the only thing that evil needs to triumph is for good men and women like you